Hello, everyone. I am sorry that I can't be here live to talk. I just work too much. I work in a refinery. But today I'm going to tell y'all about the social judgment theory and where I found my flaws and where I would do research and conduct a new study. I'm going to be doing it over the social judgment theory. So, first off, what is the social judgment theory? Whenever you hear that term, you're going to also see latitude of acceptance, rejection, and non commitment. Acceptance is going to be the ideas that someone sees as reasonable and worthy of consideration. Rejection is going to be basically the opposite, what they would see as unreasonable or objectionable. And latitude of non commitment is going to be ideas that someone sees as neither or they don't really care. Often when somebody makes decisions and says you're going to stand with something, whether it's um, for something or against something, you're going to have a reference group that has a similar idea. Whether it's politics, like you're for gun control, you may see somebody that's for the Democratic Party, or maybe you see somebody that's for uh, I don't even know. I can't even think of anything at the top of my head, but you see the political parties and you stand with those groups, or maybe you're really for art and you go to the art club at Lamar, or you're for Christianity and you may see them join a church. Like that's the kind of concept that really it is. It's so where are you socially, and the type of people that you hang out with, and what do you associate with, and what do you see acceptable versus not, what do you not associate with, or what do you, maybe you don't care about, like if you're not into politics, you don't listen to it, you don't care about it, you don't identify with any political party, and you don't really care, that kind of stuff. So with my hypothesis, I say that this theory doesn't really consider mental health as a factor. Possible mental health disorders: schizophrenia, depression, OCD being obsessive compulsive disorder, bipolar disorder, ADHD, autism, the list goes on. There's so many, I can't even cover them all, or we could be here all day. Other things that could affect it could be sex, preferred gender, your age being, are you a child? Are you a preteen getting hormones? You have no idea what's going on. A teenager, a young adult, a middle aged adult. Are you elderly? What are your relationship types? Are they positive? Are they negative? What makes them that way? Are they abusive? Are they non abusive? What makes them abusive? What do you consider non abusive? There's just a lot of variables. Some questions that I have personally, that I came up with, that I were to ask and try and find answers to, would be: does someone with a mental disorder have more positive or negative interactions with others? Does having a mental disorder affect how you perceive people that you know compared to someone that does not have a mental disorder? Do people without mental disorders have more or positive interactions with others? And are people without mental disorders more hesitant to have social interactions with people that do have mental disorders? So my methodology would be, I would go to people on the Lamar campus, students, staff, whoever. I would conduct surveys, which I'll go into detail about in just a minute. And then I would also go to doctors who have treated patients with mental disorders and get information, find out what it's like, kind of get into the brain of what all is it and what does it mean to have a mental disorder. Just really try and understand what it's like. So my surveys would be that I would try and get really a good variety of people first. I want to get different sexes. I want to get different genders, races, ages, personalities, hopefully mental like different mental disorders. I'm not going to obviously ask, do you have a mental disorder and what type do you have? But obviously, if I get a wide enough group of people, there's going to be some different types of things, some depression, some anxiety, different things like that. And then I would do surveys and interviews as well, including questions about who they are, how do they feel about themselves health wise, mentally, physically, how is their home life, how is their school life, if that's applicable, how is their work life, if that's applicable, how long, how would they get along with others, and if they are not in work or school, would they like to be? Do they have pets? What kind? How many? What kind of relationships are present in their life? And what is the status? Meaning, like, are they positive and are they negative? What would they consider that makes it positive or negative? What kind of issues do they have? And then I would conduct a study, and basically it'd be over a 3-month period, and I would have a comment section, and then I would have a list of questions ranging with ranges of 1 to 10, saying how they feel. An example being like, I enjoy being in the same room with my partner right now. 1 being not at all, 10 being yes, absolutely. And so it would be basically every Sunday at 4 p.m. they would answer all these questions and submit them, send them like it'd be like an Excel sheet, and they email it to me. That way that I can log the data, so it'd be very consistent. And here would be my timeline. So if you could see, I'd start off in like August of next year. We'd do it like a semester, beginning of school year. I'd gather the original data. This is where I would collect my people. The first surveys, where they first send in their first thing on Sunday at 4 p.m., would be September 5th. They do it on the 12th, 19th, 26th. Second month begins October 3rd, 10th, 17th, 21st, 4th, 31st. Then the third month, last month that they're doing this, the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th. And then since they're submitting it weekly, this gives me enough time to like regularly conclude the data and see the changes as it flows. That way that I'm not getting all the data at one time. And then I can see, do like conclusions as I go. And then I would start concluding the data, like get my final, what do you call it? I would just do my final analysis, basically, starting the 29th, and then I would present it to Lamar on December 6th. So it'd be like the end of the semester, basically. So that way I would just do it over the whole semester. So when we're talking about traditions, this falls under the socio-physiological theory. This explains how someone acts, thinks, feels while under the context of society. This tradition has its pros and cons because it speaks volumes on what you think about yourself when around others. For example, when you're alone, you're capable of being your true self. However, whenever you're around people, you may feel the need to act or be someone that you're not. When you're with your friends, you may tend to be more open or a little more relaxed, like you're in your comfort zone, and you're not as reserved, but more carefree. But when you're around maybe a group of businessmen or strangers, you may feel a little more insecure or uneasy. Different people may bring a different side out in you. This really helps accentuate more of what it's like to have a mental illness. People with mental illness do not have this comfort zone, and the majority of the time they are having to feel uneasy around others. It definitely affects how they choose to interact with others. So we just don't really know, and this is why I feel like the social judgment theory just doesn't really work as well. So my results in the future, this research, like when I was doing my research, this theory has not been tested very many times. So it was hard to find a lot of data. And it's because the amount of variables that they are, which is what I go to next. The amount of variables, not even including the amount of different types of disorders that there are, is is why I think that it hasn't been tested so much. There's just so many things that change the outcomes: your age, your race, your gender, your sex, your home life, your friend group, your geological location, your home life, your what kind of pets you have. I mean, what kind of day you're having, your mood, your just there's so many things. It just could be ever changing. So I think that this theory could be reevaluated, because is it even really plausible in today's society with how much we emphasize how important mental health is? So I just think that that's really something to think about. And here's my references and where I did my research. And so, again, I'm sorry that I can't be here live to talk to y'all and answer any questions that you have. But if you do have questions, I am more than happy to answer them. Just feel free to email me. My email is kruddy@lamar.edu. And I will answer any questions that y'all have. So, thank y'all for listening.